First, I want to thank all the fans that made it out there. Again, every time we've been on the road, we've had a tremendous turnout, and our players feel it. Really grateful for it. It's always a game changer when you see your people there supporting. So I want to thank them and looking forward to seeing them at Hard Rock on Saturday. But it was certainly a hard fought and a massive road win for us. Conference play against a really talented team, good coaches, good scheme, and our guys found a way to just keep responding and play together as a team. And they're driven and certainly found a way to get it done. And preparations began immediately on Florida State upon our arrival in Miami. So that being said, questions please.
Mario, does this have a different sort of feel than a normal, I should say, pass by any Florida State games, in that you have so many guys in key roles for you who are not from Florida and have not been part of this series before? Is that, for them, it's just another big game? Do you have to educate guys on what this means, or do you kind of like that approach that some of these guys just play the game that's in front of them and don't get wrapped up in the circus around it?
Right. Now, you'd be surprised how many guys you would think wouldn't be familiar with it, but that are familiar with it. I think it's important that we always educate our players on the history of the University of Miami and such a insanely awesome rivalry like we've always had with Florida State. And at the same time, making sure that the main thing stays the main thing so that we don't spill over into emotional play and stuff that doesn't contribute to winning. So, but no, the response and the excitement is what you can imagine. I don't think the rivalry and the juice and energy behind it will ever change. It's Florida State, Miami, and certainly looking forward to a great challenge and a great opportunity.
Does it change the dynamic at all in that this is a rarity, in that when one team, there's been very few instances of a team being 6 wins ahead of the other when you guys go head to head. We all know this has got to be their Super Bowl. This is their chance to do something with their season. What does that add to Saturday?
I don't think any, and I could say as a player, we never looked at the record of anyone we were playing. It just whatever the record of any team is in this rivalry, you're going to get the best version of them, and they're going to get the best version of you. And that's what makes the game so incredibly intense and physical, and that's why so many guys come here to play my game.
Mario, there's been a lot of TV cameras have found Michael Irvin on the sidelines a lot the last couple of weeks. I know that's talked about talking to Michael Irvin, to Hannah Moss, Reggie Wayne. How important is it to have the alumni around, have the alumni, supporting the program, publicly, openly, very excited about things?
Yeah, it's again, that's another reason so many guys came here for so many years, was because of that type of mentorship is invaluable. Imagine getting mentored by Hall of Famers that have done it at the highest level, to the best of what most anyone can remember. So, and it comes from the right place, comes from the heart, and I think it also is an indication of how much the University of Miami means to the guys that went here, and that they're feeling very positive about the direction of the program and that they want to be present and involved.
Coach Cristobal, these last 3 games, 2 come from Ryan victories, and then this past Saturday holding off a team like Louisville. What does that show you about this year's team compared to the ones that you had in previous years? Their ability to not only come from behind and hold off a team like Louisville.
Well, a lot growth, right? I mean, you always look at those stages. People always talk about how in stage 1 of a program or year 1, typically if you have to redo things, it's a year where you take some really hard losses, and then your second year you're more competitive and some of them are close, and you win some, you lose a couple, and then after that you start winning, sometimes by a little bit, and then eventually as you go on you become a more sustainable, perennial type of program, right? And so these guys, I think it's what we've always talked about, they love the work. There's a high level of trust and confidence due to, I would say, just what's being earned out on the practice field on a daily basis, all the way since spring, and their time and effort in the weight room since January, and the fact that their approach to work now, because we demand a lot of them, seems to just, it gets better, and you can confront and demand our team, our coaches, from each other, can get the most out of each other because we all have the same mindset, the same goals. So we all recognize we have a long way to go, and we're excited to get to work on getting there.
or 3 days, it was 4 days ago, so I apologize for asking about some of this old news now, but it's big enough news. On Friday, they announced that Joe Maria is no longer in the interim, that he's obviously now the president going forward. What's that mean to you? What's that mean to the program and just the university as a whole? Because we all know what Joe means to a lot of people around here. What was your reaction when you heard that it's done, final, official?
Well, I mean, it starts with him being an elite human being and a legitimate difference maker and impact guy. I mean, game changer for so many reasons. And he's a guy that's poured his heart and soul into the University of Miami. You know, I can honestly say I would not have hopped on a plane and come to Miami without the presence of our president, our current president, Joe Echeverria. Grateful to him for all that he's done for not only for athletics, but for the entire university. I mean, the trajectory of this university, being an elite private institution, medical systems, everything, it's off the charts. There is no comparable out there, and he leads that charge with us, so many of his colleagues, and again, just a total difference maker and a game changer for Miami.
Mario, AJ Allen, you touched on a little bit post game Saturday, but how would you see him handling biding his time, having to wait for his opportunity, and just how he's been handling everything, and then to see it pay off on Saturday for him?
Well, you know, that's hard to handle, right? Because he's a really good player and he's a really good person. And he's a tough dude and he works really hard. He's a competitor, you know? And we were fortunate, our offensive line was part of it, but that our running back room just got better and better. We brought in some really good players, and he's one of those really good players. So no one there has done anything wrong to earn less reps. It's just that sometimes some guys push a little bit more ahead than others. But all week long, and credit to Coach Merritt. Coach Merritt, in the middle of the game, said, and he said it all week, this guy he's running angry. He's just really getting downhill. He's being physical. He's seeing things very well. You know, he's got experienced eyes. We talk about guys like Jalen Rivers. He's got those old eyes. He's seen a lot. And what we were running really fit his style. And credit to Coach Merritt, he brought it up to myself and to Coach Dawson, Coach Mirabal, and it's like, yeah, man, let's go with it. And it provided a great change of man. He went in there and he was a factor in the game. So certainly deserved himself, more time. And I'm really happy for him because he really does deserve all the good things that come his way.
Does it surprise you at all that the running backs, just to follow on that angle, that Mark, Danny, and whoever gets called upon, they're ready to go when their number's called, and the 3-4 guys, they could all be workhorse backs anywhere, and you got to share, they've got to share the workload here, and it looks like they're reveling in that. Does it surprise you how well kids have handled?
I think
It's unique.
it is in this day and age, but then again, sometimes it's not, and it starts with a relationship in that room, and I think the level of respect that's demonstrated on a daily basis. Because you could tell, right? You could tell when, and we've all been there, right? You're competing for a spot, you look at it, or piece of that guy or whatnot. You watch that room, and the way they express their competitive character is by when they get their reps, they go, which has made it very difficult in distinguishing, okay, who really gets to go first or get, it's really hard. And they've made it that way, so they've taken competition the right way, all right? They've taken it not as a threat, as a way of getting better, making the team better. And they ran really hard the other day against a really good and talented defense. You see the excitement it causes among the offensive line when they do so. Tremendous. They're an incredible example of how competition can make everybody better, and their bodies feel good, they feel fresh, their legs are strong. So, hopefully we'll keep getting better and better in that department.
The play where Danny and drag guys probably a good 10 yards down the field, and then the entire O-line goes and gets him another 5 or 6 by continuing with the pile. There's been a lot of highlights around here this year, but for you, how does that play?
I like that stuff the best, of course, But I pointed out that a couple of receivers did stick their little narrow butts in there and got involved as well to help it out a little bit. But it's good to see. It's we needed a performance like that out of our backfield. They responded well all week long with good practice, and when you watch film, there's other opportunities that we had that could have really opened up the game a little bit more in that department. So again, we got a lot of work to do, and we're playing against a really good defensive front and a defense that, last Friday night, held their opponent to 3 of 16, 17 on third down, and is really big and massive and powerful up front. So we have got to be better this week in practice for it to show up on Saturday.
Mario, a few times on Saturday, you guys moved Jalen inside and put Markel Bell back at left tackle. What do you like about that lineup on the line?
Well, I think going back to Coach Mirabal, what he does, he cross-trains everybody. And Markel Bell has earned playing time, and Markel Bell needs to continue to develop at a high level, and he did. He was blocking maybe some of their best players as effectively or more than anybody else on the field. And also, I think, Jalen and Matt McCoy, we're going to move him around too. All those guys, Jalen, Matt McCoy, about 4 others can play 4 to 5 positions. The other guys can play 2, maybe 3. And we want to do that more and more because we've seen that in practice. The chemistry of that particular lineup has worked just as well as the other one. So we went with it, and it worked out really well.
Do you feel like that was the best run blocking performance up front of the season, or?
It was really good. We've had some other ones. Sometimes, when you live in a little bit of the RPO world, there's some opportunities that never come to fruition just because the ball gets spit out. I think it was certainly one of the better ones, but again, lots of room for improvement, and those guys know it, so right back to work.
You mentioned FSU's D-line. What else shows up on tape when you see FSU?
Well, I think everything. Obviously I study the defensive side first. What you see is just a really talented team that is, again, they're about as talented in most of the key positions in the front 7 as you'll see, and the secondary is big, long, they're fast. They play man coverage as good as anyone that we've seen. They mix it up pretty well as well. They got a wide variety of pressure and stunt packages that go with it. And then I think their offensive line, I know they might have had a guy hurt or 2, but they're another group that's really big, a highly recruited class that is really strong and powerful, and has had some really, really strong moments. And again, all I see is a really good football team, and looking forward to a great game.
We always talk about quarterbacks and receivers finding symmetry, clicking with one another. With Ruben back, he and Simeon are they getting a rhythm together as well? Because it seemed like they were doing kind of whatever they wanted at times.
They played at a high level. They really did. I think they fed off each other, almost competed. I think Mesidor could be thrown in that mix as well. Akeem has really just volunteered his body to do whatever we asked him to do, inside, outside, nose tackle, 3, 5, 7, 9. And we're going to continue pushing that group. I know Coach Taylor's done a really good job with those guys, developing them, and we can get more out of them. We can. There's more to be had there. We're going to push and test them this week because they're capable, and I think Saturday was an example of some of the things we can do.
The explosiveness of the offense is obvious. But I want to ask you about the way you guys are controlling games on offense with time of possession. Are you, in some ways, as excited about that element as you are the explosive plays you guys are generating and limiting negative plays to that side of things on offense?
I don't know if excited and time of possession are synonymous. Right. I think we're well balanced. We're starting to, become a well balanced offense, but we're also not afraid to be aggressive and take whatever the defense provides opportunities for. I think the fact that we can change gears it benefits us tremendously. We sometimes have gone tempo, sometimes they've huddled, sometimes they've speed huddled, sometimes they've increased the tempo, how we get in and out of the huddle. So I think if you control the game, it's always a plus for your team. It wasn't something that we set out to do, not in most of the situations we've been in this year until late in a couple of the games that we've had, but it's certainly a very positive sign.
After having a chance to watch the film of Saturday's game, what are some of the things that you and the staff have identified on defense? Obviously, Louisville has an explosive offense in their own right, but what are some of the things on defense that you guys identified as things you need to work on or correct?
Yeah, well, we, some guys tackled really well and some others didn't. Leveraging the football has got to be at a premium, and really communication. We had some breakdowns in alignment and assignments that we were good at early in the year. And everything we saw on film, number one, there's certainly an urgency to get fixed. And I'm talking about by players and coaches. What you don't see is just a lack of effort. You don't see that. That would be concerning. What you see is guys trying to bust their butts, and I think the first thing you got to do as a coach is you own it and find a way to teach it better so guys can really just cut it loose and not think and play it. That's number one. And then number two, when you get to that level, you also have to put some of the onus on the players. It's teach and learn. Those are two-part system, right? And we've got to practice through every ounce of preparation, walk through meetings, you name it, provide the guidance, the teaching, the mentorship, the confidence to be able to go out there and really cut it loose and play fast, like we have shown in so many instances. And ones where we haven't, certainly we didn't look good, but we feel like we do address them, we attack them, get on with transparency and honesty, and we know where we got to get better, and we're all over it.
You obviously have the unique perspective of being a guy who played in this rivalry, a guy who coached in this rivalry. You've seen more of these games than most people. Are there moments that you automatically go back to as the moment that defined this series, or can you even allow yourself to go there this week when you're locked in?
I can't publicly in my mind. Scary thing in his mind, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was the best days always as a player. When the schedule came out as a player, you always make sure that day was certain, because it was so different. Right? How many games we used to have? 10, 11? I forget. In the Stone Age, I forget how many games we used to have. But the caliber of player that you were going to be playing against, the familiarities of some of the guys on the other team, you knew what that game was going to be about, right? Everybody was going to be strapping on ice bags and eating Advil, to make sure to get over the physicality of the game. But so many unbelievable memories, and honestly, this is the most I thought. These last 30 seconds have been the most I thought about, and the most I will, just because the job at hand. We've got a really, really good and talented football team coming in here, and we got to play our best football. We got a lot of work to do to get there.
Speaking of dealing with physicality and injuries and stuff, saw Mario kind of walking around a bit on the field on Saturday. Is there a timetable for when you might get a chance to come back? Is it sometime during the regular season, or is it still unknown?
It'll be sometime during the regular season, towards the back end. I think the last couple of games is realistic. That guy's a really good player now. That guy, it's a 6'1" plus corner, 200 pounds, that runs like the wind and is physical. He's chomping at the bit to get back out there. It's awesome to see the way he attacks his rehab, the way he stays engaged and continues to just learn and get better and help some of the other guys. And then to see him, being able to walk around, and he's already working on the what's that machine called? That machine. And so he's really moving and making a lot of progress towards coming back, man. And I'm sure his teammates can't wait for him to be healthy again.
Do you have an update on Malik, Brian?
He's good to go. So Malik got sick last week, and he came down with just an awful virus, and we just couldn't get him back in time, and we didn't want to put him on the plane and spread that thing, and but he's good to go. Body weight checks out. He's strong. He's ready, and he's also one we missed last week. Now he's played really good football for us, so looking forward to getting him back.
You've obviously seen some really good quarterbacks, some really good offensive scheme in the last 3 games, but the numbers also probably pretty shocking as far as what you want to see out of your defense. What's the level of concern right now, or is there not much of one, just because of the level of offense you have seen?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a matter of. I don't feel concern. I feel urgency. It's almost for a fact that we're better than some of the things we have shown, and that we need to be consistent in showing we got to get there, and you get there together. During the year. The one thing that really stands strong in our program is there's no division from within. You can't have it. this football stuff, and you see week after week, and it is absolutely insane the way that some of these games go. And so you've got to take the fact that, you know, we may win some games 52-45, and we might have to win one 3-2. You know, we don't know how it's going to come and when it's going to come. So until then, together, move forward and press on and just find a way to get better. I guess it's that simple. Just get better. Just get better. You know.
Is it kind of crazy to you that?
What's that?
Is it kind of crazy that 319 yards and 4 touchdowns from your quarterback is an average day?
Yeah. I guess we'll have to live with that.